Good afternoon, students. So, we are continuing with the discussion on money and banking. So, this is the last part of the discussion. So, here we are mainly going to look at the commercial banks. So, how commercial banks are functioning and what are their aims uh, how do they perform different functions and all that. So, commercial banks are the banks which are there to make profit. So the main aim of the commercial banks is to make a profit, and they are also called as retail banks and high street banks. So they are just like any other profit oriented organization. Of course, they receive deposits, lend money, and then help customers to make payments and all these things. But then ultimately their aim is to make profit. So that's the reason they're all called as commercial banks. I mean, their main aim is to make profit, and that is the reason they're called as commercial banks. So if you look at the role and importance of commercial banks, so there are mainly three main functions that are performed by the commercial banks. First one is to receive deposits or accept deposits. There are people who would like to save their money, and so when they save their money, instead of keeping money in their hand, I mean keeping the money idle, so what they do, they actually put their money in the bank, and then that money is there in the that money is there with the bank for quite some time. And they put their money with the bank because they know that the banks will give them interest and all that. So instead of keeping the money idle, they can earn some interest and all that. That is the reason they put their money with the bank. So that is the first function, to accept deposits. And the next function is to lend money. There are people who are in need of money, like businesses, companies who are in need of money to expand their business and all that. So there are also people like us, like individuals who need money to buy car, to buy a house, to buy different gadgets and all that. So there are different people who are in need of money. So banks are also lending money to these people, I mean to the firms and to the individuals for different purposes. So this is the second function, and the third function is to help customers make payments. For example, you are purchasing something online, let's say on Amazon website or something. You find a product, and then you think that the product is you want to buy that product. So you have to make a payment when you are purchasing that product. So how do you make a payment? Mostly these days the online payments are done. So your bank is with the money, but then you have to pay Amazon so and so money. So how do you do that? There is an online payment option. So this payment is done through banks. So banks are also helping customers to make payments, different payments. Even when you are filling petrol and diesel in your car, you are swiping a card and then you are making that payment. So this card is given by the bank. So bank is also helping customers to make payments. So these are the main three functions performed by commercial banks. First one is to accept deposits from those who want to save money, and interest is paid for the money that is deposited. And the next one is to lend money. So there are people who are in need of money, so banks lend money and they are charging interest rate. So if you are lending, if you are a bank and if you are lending 5 lakh rupees for someone to buy a car, so you are also charging interest rate. And then the third one is to help customers make a payment in different ways, either online payment or card payment or different payments. So these are the three main functions performed by the commercial banks. So if you look at the first function, to accept a deposit, there are people who have money and they want to put their money with the bank. Now they have different options. There are different types of deposits. There are different types of accounts in which they can put their money. First one is current account. Current account is usually used by the businesses actually for daily transactions. They are maintaining an account. For example, if you're a if you're running a grocery shop, okay. So yeah, let's say that's a supermarket kind of grocery shop. It's a big shop, and people use card to make payment and all that. And then when people are making payment either through credit card or debit card, or through Google Pay or anything, that money is going to a particular account. So that account is called as current account. So this current account is opened mainly for daily transactions, not with the intention of saving money. There are people who are making payment when they purchase some products from you, so that money should be sitting in a particular account. So that is current account. So now I told you that this is current account is maintained for daily transactions, not with the intention of saving money. So you are running this supermarket, so whatever the payment made by the customers, that payment is going to this particular account. Now on the other hand, you are also buying things from different wholesalers. For example, you are buying different things, different household things that you are selling in your shop from different wholesalers or from different companies. So when you are buying these items from these companies or from wholesalers, you also have to make payment to them. You have to give them money when you are purchasing these items. So again, to make such payments, you will be using current account. So this current account is maintained only for daily transactions, okay, or for regular transactions and all that. So that is current account, and whatever the money that is sitting in this current account will not earn any interest. The reason is, daily there is so much transaction. You will be receiving payment, you will be making payment, and that money that is there in that current account will keep fluctuating. So banks do not give interest on the money that is sitting in the current account. The next account is called as deposit account or time account. So this deposit account is long term in nature. So if you have some money, and let's say you have 5 lakh rupees, and instead of keeping that 5 lakh rupees idle, so you put that money with the bank. So that is usually will be sitting in deposit account or time account. So the banks will give you interest on these interest on the money sitting in your deposit account or time account. So usually if you have to withdraw money from this deposit account or time account, you have to give prior notice to the bank, because usually this money will be there in the account for a quite long time, maybe for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or something. So in between, if you need money, then you have to give prior notice to the bank, because the bank will be thinking that this money is not withdrawn during the 5 years or during the 2 years and all that. So that money will be used by the bank for different purposes, maybe lending this money to whoever in need of money and all that. So when you are asking this money, all of a sudden you have to give prior notice. Only then the bank can arrange that money and then give you that money. So interest is usually paid on deposit account and current account. So this is regarding accepting deposits. The next function is borrowing from the bank. There are 2 types of borrowing. One is overdraft. What is overdraft? Let's say you are a businessman, and on a daily basis you need so much money. As I said, if you are running a supermarket, you need to make payments to the wholesalers and to the companies from which you are buying different products and all that. So let's say on a particular day you have to make a payment of 20 lakhs, but then there are only 17 lakh rupees in your account. So you are in shortage of 3 lakhs rupees. So what do you do? So at that time, so on a particular day you have to make that payment. At that time you cannot go anywhere. So sometimes banks will give you overdraft facility, so that will help you during such crisis time. So you are in a need of 20 lakhs, but then in your account there are only 17 lakhs, so there is a shortage of 3 lakhs rupees. So when banks give you overdraft, you can still write a check for 20 lakhs even though you have 17 lakhs in your account, and the banks will honor that, and the banks will still pay that money to the particular person, either to the company or the wholesaler from which you have bought the product. So the banks know that okay, you have 17 lakhs, but then still it is giving that money to such wholesalers or the companies. So this is called as overdraft. So here what is technically happening is you are borrowing 3 lakhs rupees from the bank, and the bank is lending you 3 lakhs rupees on a particular day because you have to make that payment. Now for this 3 lakhs rupees, the banks will charge interest rate, and you have to repay that money within, let's say, 5 days or 10 days or within a month. So that terms and conditions will be given by the banks. So this is called as overdraft. This is also kind of lending money. So banks are lending you money on a particular day. The other type of lending is loan, giving loans. Banks give loans to firms, companies and businesses. If there is a company which wants to expand its business, and if it requires, let's say, 50 lakhs, and then it can approach bank, and then banks will look at all the finance of the company, and then if the bank is convinced, then the bank will grant the loan, and it will lend that much money to this particular company. But then it will be charging interest rate. The banks will be charging interest rate on that money. So that interest rate will keep changing periodically. So that interest rate will be decided by the central bank. So we looked at the functions of the central bank and all that. So that will be discussed by the central bank, decided by the central bank. So that is another type of lending. So apart from businesses, the banks also will lend money to individuals. For example, if a person who wants to buy Apple laptop, and the Apple laptop is, let's say, 1.75 lakhs, so that person may not have that much amount in his hand. So he will make a small payment in the beginning, but then the remaining amount he will borrow from the bank, and the banks will lend him money and all that, but then the interest will be charged. So that money will be repaid in EMI, easy monthly installments, over a period of 1 year or 1.5 years and all that. So this is also a loan. This is called as a retail loan, a loan given for individuals for buying gadgets and other things. And individuals also take loans for buying cars and for buying houses and for buying properties and all that. So interest rate is usually charged for the loan that is lent to the customers. And what you need to understand is that banks are giving interest rate to those people who are saving their money with the bank, and banks are charging interest rate from those people who have borrowed money from the bank. So in both cases there are interest rate, but then usually the interest rate on the loan will be higher than the interest rate on the saving deposits. I mean, whatever the money people are saving with the bank, on that money the interest rate will be usually lower than the interest rate on the loans. So what is happening? I'm a bank, I receive deposits from people. For them, I'm giving them 5% interest rate, and I'm lending this money to businesses and to individuals. So for this, when I lend money, I'm charging higher interest rate. Let's say I'm charging 12% interest rate, but I'm actually giving only 5% interest to those people who are saving money with me. So there is a difference of the difference is the profit that is going to the bank. So this is the regarding the loans um, made by the banks to the people. And the banks are also acting like intermediaries. It is acting like intermediaries between lenders and borrowers. People who are saving money with the bank, they are called as lenders. They are technically lending money to the bank, and bank is using that money and then giving loans to individuals and businesses. And people who are taking loans from the banks, they are called as borrowers. So bank is actually connecting these lenders and borrowers, or savers and borrowers. Lenders can also be called as savers. The third function is to help customers making payments. And these days payments can be done in different ways: through Google Pay, through online transactions, through credit card, through debit card, and even by cash you can make the payment. So or by writing check and all that, you can make the payment. So commercial banks will help you help you make the payments to different peoples. So these are the three functions of commercial banks. Now the other functions of commercial banks, these days the banks are also performing the other functions apart from these three main functions. Like, banks these days are selling insurance policies, life insurance, health insurance, and all that. And banks are also acting like share market brokers. Like, if you want to buy and sell shares in the share market, you need to open demat account. Usually the banks are having these facilities. They are basically acting like share market brokers, and with these banks you can open demat account, and through this demat account you can buy shares and then sell shares and all that. And banks are also having this money exchange facility. For example, if your brother or if your family member is sending money from Dubai, and if you want to convert that money into Indian rupee, that conversion, that exchange should happen somewhere. Usually the banks are also acting like money exchange. The place where the money is exchanged from one currency to another currency. So these are the other functions performed by the commercial banks. And banks are also giving advice on people on their personal finance, like, how they can save their money, and then how they can invest their money and all that. So these financial advices are also given by the commercial banks. And these days people are also keeping their important documents with the bank. You have a vault, or you have a safety locker with the bank, and then there you can maintain different things. Like, if you have valuables like jewels, and if you have property documents and all those things you can keep in the safety locker, and then the banks will charge a nominal amount, or whatever the amount decided by the bank will be charged from the people who are having the safety locker with the banks. Now the aims of commercial bank, as I told you, is to make profit. That is their primary objective. But at the same time, they also have to look at the liquidity. What is liquidity? The meaning of liquidity is shown here. Liquidity is being able to turn an asset into cash quickly without a loss. For example, if you have a jewel, you have to see whether that is a liquid asset or not. Liquid asset means whether you can easily sell that jewel and convert into a currency. But if you have a property, that is not a liquid asset. If you have to sell that property, it takes months. You have to find a buyer, and then you have to complete the registration and everything. All these things are there. So that is not a liquid asset. But then money that is sitting in your bank account, that is a liquid asset. Easily you can withdraw that money and then use that money. Likewise, a jewel, a gold, the gold that you have, that can be considered as a liquid asset. It can easily be sold and then converted into currency and all that. So now banks are making profit by charging higher interest rate for loans and by giving less interest rate for the savings. Now, the more they lend, the more profit they make. But then they should be very, very careful while lending money. Just because they have some money, they cannot lend all the money to the people. For example, bank is receiving 100 rupees as savings. If the bank is lending all the 100 rupees, then it will make more profit. There is no doubt about that. But then it is not wise for the banks to lend all the 100 rupees it has received from the savers. So what it should do, it should have some reserve amount. It should have 30 rupees 30 rupees should be kept as a reserve, and only 70 rupees should be lent to the people. Only then it can meet the demands of the savers. Those who are saving money, sometimes they are in need of money and they might go to the bank and ask for their money. So the bank should be able to repay the money that it has received from the savers. So usually banks are maintaining a minimum reserve amount. If it is receiving 100 rupees, it will not lend the 100 rupees. It will reserve 30 rupees, and that 30 rupees will not be lent at all, and only the remaining 70 rupees will be lent. So that percentage of money that is reserved, it differs from time to time. It differs. So that is what is liquidity. You cannot lend all the money that you have received. So you have to have some money in your hand. So that is what is called as liquidity. If you lend all the money, you will make more profit, but then you have to strike a clear balance between liquidity and profit. Okay, so that is the aim of commercial banks. The next one is Islamic banks. This religion Islam is actually having different principles. It is saying that you cannot charge interest rate on money and all that, and you cannot lend money and charge interest rate and all that. So because the belief system of the religion is different, the banks in Islamic countries and all that will be functioning in a slightly different way. In those countries there are banks and all that, but then when these banks lend money, they don't charge interest rate. Instead, they take a share from the profit earned by the businesses and others who are borrowing from the banks. For example, you are an Islamic bank and you are operating in, let's say, Dubai, and then there are people who take loan from you. Let's say there are companies who are taking loan from you, and those companies taking this loan, they actually expand their business and then they make profit and all that. So when they are making profit, a particular share should be given to the banks, because the bank has lent you money. So instead of interest rate, here a particular share will be given to the banks for the money that is borrowed. So that's how the Islamic banks are functioning, and the Islamic banks are following Sharia. The laws prescribed by Islam is called as Sharia, Shariat or Sharia and all that. So such principles will be strictly followed by the Islamic banks and all that. So that is Islamic banks, and the next one is central banks. So we have discussed central banks already. So and the functions, different functions of central banks and all that. So all these functions must have been clear to you. So that's all, folks, about this chapter. If you have to recollect the main points discussed in this particular chapter, these are the points. There are 4 functions of money. One is medium of exchange, store of value, unit of account, and standard of deferred payments. To act as money, an item has to be generally acceptable, unlimited in supply, durable, portable, divisible, and homogeneous and recognizable. The three main functions of commercial banks are to accept deposits, to lend, and to enable their customers to make payments. Other functions of commercial banks include dealing in foreign currency, holding important documents and small valuables, helping with wills and tax, selling insurance, and providing mortgage loans. A central bank is owned by the government. Its functions include acting as the banker to the government and commercial banks, managing the national debt, holding reserves of foreign currency, acting as a lender of last resort, issuing bank notes, controlling the money supply, implementing interest rate changes, supervising the banking system, and meeting with other central banks and international organizations. So that's all, folks, from my side about this topic. You will be given some homework today in Google Classroom. So basically, you need to answer these three questions, A, B, C. So totally there are 12 marks, and along with that, you also have these four MCQs. So these also should be answered. So 12 plus 4, 16 marks. So you have to answer these questions, and total marks are 16. So this will be the homework for this particular chapter. So that's all, folks. Take care. Bye bye.